And here we are at Anarchapulco 2019, and I just heard the amazing Carey Wedler speak, and she was talking about why there aren't more women in this movement. And there are so many points of familiarity, guys, especially women, about the things we've had to basically overcome and address in order to get ourselves out of our own matrix on top of the other matrix. So just briefly, because we're just going to talk for a minute here, and we'll do a longer interview in the future. Carey is the editor-in-chief of Anti-Media and is an author and a spokeswoman, and she is doing a great job in bridging the gap, I think, between many subcultures. One of the ones that you talked about today was the compassionate libertarianism movement, which is one of my little pet projects too, because I don't understand how women can be so radicalized and how they could be so me when the divine feminine is all about love and humanity and compassion. So I don't know, do you want to address that?
Sure, yeah. So something I talked about in my speech is just the nature of modern feminism, which is there is this sense of independence, but there is this sense of also this older view and mentality of, well, we need a man to be whole. And this is really confusing. And I think that there might be this overcompensation of like, well, I have to be independent, I have to make my own money, I don't need a man. But that seems so divorced from our innate ability to connect with people. Yes. So we're pushed into this Ariana Grande, Beyonce, whatever, Kim Kardashian, whoever you think of when you think of modern feminism in a celebrity sense. We feel pushed to adhere to this standard when we may not even feel it on the inside, because a lot of what I talked about is there is an extreme lack of self-love, yes, in part because of this culture, because of the standards imposed on us. So it's really hard for us to meet all those standards and be happy and then be kind to others when there's so much resentment and so much reactivity because we're not meeting these standards, and it's impossible to.
So what do you think, okay, so for a woman who wants to get out of her programming, what would be the first steps? I mean, aside from some recognition.
Right.
Yeah,
there's recognition. I think what has really worked for me is truly learning self-compassion. Because the way I grew up, both because of my parents' divorce and the trauma I had, independent of culture, independent of statism, what I was struggling with was a severe lack of self-love. I didn't love myself, and it was made worse by these external institutions. But I fundamentally I didn't even know what that meant. What is self-love? I remember crying on the couch with my best friend when we were like 24. We were like, we don't know what it means. We want to love ourselves, but we don't know what that feels like.
It's true.
Exactly. So I think it's this practice of learning to be kind to yourself, learning to be with these difficult emotions, because we're human beings. We're going to have hard times. We're going to be anxious. We're going to be hurt. We're going to have grief. And so the goal is to be present with that and to learn to hold those emotions for ourselves. And luckily, as women, it's a lot easier for us to be in touch with our emotions. So I want to recommend a book. It's called The Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook by Kristen Neff. You can get it on Amazon. There's also a wonderful meditation teacher. She's also a former psychologist, so that helps a lot. Her name's Tara Brach, Tarabrach. You can find her podcasts and her Dharma talks and her meditations at tarabrach.com. She is still a statist, but she is one of the most compassionate, loving people. I feel like if I could talk to her about anarchism, she would be totally open.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think she'd be open to it. I might not convince her, but she's such a kind person, and she just embodies this loving self-care that I think we really need to get back to, both men and women, but I think it might feel a little more second nature or first nature for women because we are more emotionally wired.
That is fantastic. Carey, thank you so much, and I'll include links down below to your sites and everything.
Thank you so much
for
for
talking.